Good afternoon everybody, welcome to a chart nerd technical analysis video. Today we will be analyzing Velo. Now in this video I wanted to focus primarily on several different fractals, some that are short to mid-term bearish and others that are short to mid-term bullish. In my honest opinion, Velo has not lost any key macro structure as of yet, so my long-term result is in favor of the bullish scenarios. However, we do need to consider all aspects here to remain covered on all angles. So nothing that I say is financial advice. Let's dive into the content. So coming over to the weekly time frame for Velo, you can see that yesterday we closed out on the weekly at 0.011, and this is the lowest candle close since November of 2024. So in theory, what you could say is we've retested the exact lows of last year. In fact, it does look like we had the candle closes a little bit lower than the candle closes of November. So this is in fact the first candle close below Q4 of 2024. It seems scary, right? It seems scary. And we have to consider that there are several, if not loads of people who would have got in on this 0.038 high when things look really well, and you know, from that sort of position they would be down 70%. So there's a lot of negative sentiment in the market right now, but as long as Velo is remaining above this November low of 2024 and above the prior lows of July and August 2024, which sits at 0.0069/7, then the macro bullish structure is still in play here. Now if we come over to the RSI and the stock RSI on the weekly, we can see that the stock RSI is completely reset and sitting at levels of 2.9. So the oversold area and entry point is at around 20, but we are really overextended here and at very similar levels in the stock RSI to what we was in the July lows of 2024. So you've got the RSI that's back at those similar levels, but you've still got higher lows in the price here. And again, we've been monitoring this sort of 5-wave correction and where this wave 5 could potentially end. And I have posted on X a couple of times that this 5-wave extension could come in a little bit deeper than what it already has. Now, we did see some short-term bearish price action over the last couple of days. It would have been nice to maintain closes above the 0.618, which is the golden ratio support zone, retracing from this local high back down to these July lows of 2024, but we actually closed below that yesterday. So we've initially lost the 0.618 as support, and you can see that this week, as of today, we've run into that as resistance. So we could have turned the 0.618 into resistance after losing it as support. So the main level to get back above now in order to see price action start picking up here is 0.0134. That is a key level of resistance that Velo must reclaim in order to see further price appreciation. Now, if we analyze the next Fibonacci level of support, which, by the way, when you are in these oversold areas on the stock RSI, you can remain in these periods during a correction for quite some time. Just because you enter the oversold area does not necessarily mean the lows are in. Again, down here, we did have a quick recovery in July and we started to pump back up, but then we came back in for a higher low, which initially brought us right back down to where we came from, which was this previous little dip here back in July, August of 2024. So although it looked like the low was in and it was picking up, it didn't initially start picking up fully until it placed a double bottom. So this is how we got the double bottom on 0.07, which led up to this high before an ABC correction and pushing on to our 0.038 high. Now within this correction that we've incurred, which is around 70% now, Velo has created a hidden weekly bullish divergence. So you've got the low of July 2024, okay? And now if we come over to the RSI, currently where we are, you can see that there's a slight lower low here in the RSI, but if we analyze the price from these lows, we've currently got a higher low. So you've got higher lows in the price and you've got gradual lower lows in the RSI. Now this isn't an extremely strong hidden bullish divergence, but it is signs that one is forming. So if we do see any further rollover in the RSI and the price start to roll over any further, I think this is where the optimal opportunities will lie with Velo moving forward. Now after losing this 0.618 Fibonacci, and if we do see the RSI start to decline further on the weekly, my next level of support would be the 0.786 at 0.01. So around 1 cent exactly, I think could be a key level of support. And this is where we could potentially see the RSI come in and create a stronger hidden bullish divergence, whilst the price still remains above higher low structure, if Velo is, for instance, to come down to this level. So I think that from here on in, again, we still have macro bullish structure that is not lost, as long as we remain above this wick from November 2024 and these lows of July 2024. We still have higher lows and higher high structure on the macro timeframes. So with that tying up with the fact that the RSI is creating that hidden bullish divergence, and the fact that stock RSI is in the floor, points to me that this correction is near to being over than it has only just being started or being in the midst of it, right? Okay, especially last week's candle, we did see quite a strong rejection here of around, this was a 35% correction within a week. You know, it is quite volatile, it is quite heavy, but at the same time, this is corrective and is not capitulation until we see the lows of July 2024 lost. Now, in this correction, we are resetting key indicators here with the RSI on the weekly and with the stock RSI being in the floor. Now, if we zoom out to the monthly chart here, and if I remove these indicators and look at the monthly, again, we had the 20 EMA, which we'd retested for the first time in quite a while. So if I get the 20 EMA on very quickly for us, input, so go to 20, you'll notice that the monthly 20 EMA is a key level of resistance. Okay, it was the first time that we ran up into this EMA since the downtrend occurred back in 2021. So this is why I think we are being pushed back quite heavily here. This is a key moving average that was not back tested. But if we go from the macro scale of things and we get a Fibonacci on from this 0.038 high, retracing back down to the lows of our all-time lows of December 2022, there are a few key levels of support that could act, again, giving confluence to that 0.01 range, that 1 cent range I just showed you. These right here are the levels on the macro timeframes that we need to watch out for in regards to any further pullbacks. Now, I don't see the potential play to 0.004, but the 0.618 is there, and it's not to be ignored if we do see further corrections, okay? But the first level of contact that I would expect a strong level of relief on right now is very close to where this level of support was back in July of 2024. Okay, so if you look on here, you've got these previous highs of March, which created our Adam and Eve resistance. You've got the previous highs of March that was resistance, and then we actually broke out of that in April 2024 and confirmed it as a flipped SR zone of support. So we turned previous resistance into support 1 year later. Now, what's happened is we've ran up to the 20 EMA and we're being pushed back quite strong. So it looks like if we do come back any lower, you've got the 0.382 at 0.009/1 cent that could act as a key level of support here. Okay, and we could come in for some sort of macro double bottom on this range, on this 0.382, within some sort of flat ABC correction before getting the continuation. Now, there's a post that points very closely to this that I shared back in February, on early February this year, tying up with this sort of 0.50 and 0.382. Now, that post is this one here. So alternatively, could you hold through this play to 0.06 before shooting to 38 cents later in the year? So this was when Velo was back at 0.0185. And I was saying that if we have been rejected by this 20 EMA and we do see this pushback, we could be looking for an expanded flat ABC correction, putting back to 0.05/6 before getting that breakout. So this again would just entail a macro ABC looking for further continuation to the upside. But in this post, I did not have the 0.382 like I have here. And the 0.382 in an uptrend when you come back for a correction is a very important fib to monitor for relief. So before any chance of 0.006 is to occur, 0.009/1 cent is a key level of support that would validate the structure of that Adam and Eve still being in place. If we start to see closes below 1 cent, then the Adam and Eve pattern would unfortunately be out the window, but that's not here yet, and I would update if it was to come into fruition. But right now, we still have key levels of support on the macro time frame from the local high back down to the all-time low. We have support at roughly 1 cent on the 382. And if we do see any further capitulation between now and the end of March, I think this is where that low could come for Velo back on this key level of support. Now, a bullish scenario on the weekly time frame is this post that I posted here. fear never feels like opportunity. So if we analyze our correction that we're in right this second, I've got this falling wedge pattern here, which is a bullish reversal pattern that occurs within an uptrend. And I've also got, you can see you've got this red line and these green lines. So this is the super trend indicator, and it helps identify trend momentum. So when we came up to this high, you can see that the trend indicator initially flipped red, and this is where we had a correction before pushing out to new local highs. And right now, what tends to occur is you get support on the green, the lower regression of the green super trend. So what's happened is we've come out from a bearish, we've exited the bearish, put in the 0.038 high, flipped into green super trend. So we're in a bullish trend right now inside a correction. And within this correction, we've come back down to the super trend support, which was at 0.0109 when I took this post, which I think it was this morning actually. So we'd actually not tapped that just yet, but you can see that it's a key level of support. And again, that 1 cent ties up with the 0.382 that we was analyzing on our charts here. So around 1 cent. So the 0.382 is a very, very interesting area to analyze. And we do have also this white line here, which is the Gaussian channel. And I've just changed it to a different color to help us identify it. But this is the middle regression band of the Gaussian. And this middle regression band hasn't been back tested until last week or yesterday's candle close, since we was actually entered this uptrend from the all-time low. So it's very important to notice that we've come back to the super trend support zone. We've also come back to the mid regression band of the Gaussian channel, and we're in a falling wedge 5-wave correction. These point to the low being somewhere around here. Okay, and this is the bullish, one of the bullish scenarios, that the low is now already in, but we need to see more confirmational signs, guys. Okay, and failing that, then you've got around 1 to 9 cents that could act as a key level of support. Failing that, you've then got the 0.50 at around 0.005/6, which would be an expanded flat deviation point below yearly ascending support, before then getting the break and initially acting as a spring if we come back this deep. But this again doesn't deserve to come out into the world yet, because we haven't actually lost that support, and right now we have higher levels of support as 0.009/1 cent that we need to keep our eyes on if we pull back any further. Now coming over to the daily time frame, you can see that the 20 EMA was a level of resistance for quite some time, and has been a key level of resistance in this downtrend. So we did have that low and this wick to 0.013, and then we saw the rally into the 20, but continued hitting our heads on this, okay, and continued hitting our heads. Now, I should have pointed out that the more you hit your head on the resistance, the less likely you are to break it, and you can see that lower highs were forming gradually in this downtrend, and that has initially led to this pullback and rollover, which is actually deeper than the 0.013 wick that we was analyzing and hoping to fill. So in regards to retracement back down to this low, so this is the November low that we was talking about earlier, and still being above that, so we still have higher low structure. Okay, we're still above the previous lows of November, but not to shy away from the fact that we're not very far from them. So this could again come in time with playing up with a retracement back down to 0.010, and then getting the break and building some sort of double bottom on this November 2024 low. So we might not be 100% out of the woods yet, and to start confirming that we have any chance of getting out, this daily 20 EMA needs to be reclaimed. You can see that when we deviated it below in November, we eventually got back above it, hold it as support, and then we broke out. Okay, so until we start to see Velo getting back above the 20 EMA, holding it as support, the less likely we are to break out. The 20 EMA on the daily time frame is a key moving average to reclaim, and now sits at 0.015. So I mean, it's a lot to think about. If we get a Fibonacci from this local high here going back down to the wick, and I get the 1272 Fibonacci on, hang on, we get the 1272 on because so again, you've got 0.011 from the local high in the 9th of February, retracing back to this low, okay, because we had this low, rallied up to the 20, and then have been pushed back through all of these fib levels. Okay, we've lost the 382, lost the 050, lost the 0618, and the 786, and we've lost the 1 fib. Okay, so the next target for me in regards to pulling back on any short term, if we do see further correction, is to 0.0112, which then brings us even closer to forming a double bottom on the 4th of November and this low from last year. So it seems extremely harsh, but this is still corrective. In my opinion, my honest opinion, it is still corrective, and is until otherwise. It's very simple to see support and resistance right here, and we've got this strong level of flipped SR that again could be acting as a base here for some sort of flat or irregular ABC correction, okay, where we're just coming back for a key level of support on the previous Adam and Eve resistance, looking for continuation. And all this is right now, all this sort of sideways action between April of 2024 into this year, you can see it's like a consolidation period. All this could potentially be is a complex wave 4. So this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, wherever you want to class this top out, and you've got an ABC for the wave 4, looking for that fifth wave that takes us up to sort of 38 cents and is really, really impulsive. Now, another way to look at this chart is to, if I can do it, is to invert it, okay? And it looks like you can see here that we're potentially running into this level of resistance again. So if Velo does have some sort of play here where it runs up into resistance after, why'd that trend line not come on? If Velo has this play where it does continue to dip, which would mean going up here, if we can come back to 0.09/1 and then, what the hell was that? I put the wrong, oh, I was doing something else. So if we can come back from this low into this resistance which would be support on this inverted chart, and then start building some base, I think this is where coming into later 2025, things get really exciting. And you can see that this is a level of resistance, okay, that every time Velo comes up to it would act as resistance and push us down. But if we revert the chart back to normal, this in fact would mean Velo breaking out to higher targets. So right now it looks like we're in this ascending channel, so to speak, which technically some people would class as a bearish structure, but I do believe we're missing a final wave. I think we're missing a final wave, and all we're doing is coming back to this previous level of support, which could entail this is very small, I do apologize, which could entail, again, like I'm saying, pulling back to this area for support on the Adam and Eve resistance on ascending multi-year support, and then starting to form the break going into later parts of 2025. So we've got key support below. Macro structure still remains. I've given you some sort of bullish outlooks, which is where we hold the Gaussian channel, the mid band, which sits at 0.01. 1 cent is a very strong level of support, and this scenario could come into fruition if that does tie into being the local low. Failing that, you've got the 0.50 at 0.006, which would act as a expanded flat ABC correction. But in my honest opinion, I think right now we have a good chance of holding support on the 0.382. If I get it back on my chart, here we go. We have a very good chance on the macro of holding 0.009. And I do believe that this would offer optimal opportunity moving forward before then starting to exit the woods here and pushing on to higher targets into later 2025. And again, as I was saying, all this could be is some sort of ABC complex wave 4 to a key level of support and a consolidation range for the last year before getting the breakout. So I hope you've enjoyed the content. I think there's a few other things that I really wanted to tap onto actually before I go, which is news in regards to the digital Baht handout. So phase 3 of the digital Baht handout and wallet system is ready and targeted at the younger age group of 16 to 20 who are more advanced with technical appliances. The finance minister confirmed that the distribution will start around the end of Q2 and continue into the beginning of Q3 for people aged 16 to 20. The allocation amount has lowered due to a few technical issues with the DGA and DES, but still plans to go ahead and test the new system in the flesh with 2 to 3 million people and a 20 to 30 billion baht allocation. So the companies behind this system remain secretive and lucrative. We don't actually hear any direct names of the companies or the digital wallet system that's involved. However, I do believe and still have an idea that Velo has a potential role in tapping on to this Baht handout. Now, why do I also think that? Well, you've got KT who shared this post earlier. If I can find it today, where was we? Unless I go to his profile very quickly. I do apologize because I should have this up. Here we go. Right, so you've got KT who pointed out here. This is done through our vast product suite with Universe. Orbit, which is a crypto to fiat payment super app that will tap on the coming 2024 Thai government's free crypto giveaway for the masses. So Velo has initially stated here that they are going to be part of the government's free crypto giveaway. But how is the question? And we haven't heard a lot from that. And we're in the final stages of this development. Now, you could initially class this giveaway as a CBDC project, as a test and a trial for full implementation of CBDCs before the regulatory sandbox completes in Q4. So it mentions here about the CBDC age as well. So with this sort of project being a potential CBDC project with the handout as an economic stimulus package, we also need to look at this here, where the Ministry of Finance has 46 visual projects to stimulate Thailand's growth. We also have rate cuts that began to weaken the baht from last month, and we have economic stimulus packages like this digital baht handout in motion, plus the Bank of Thailand's programmable payment sandbox due for completion in Q4 2025. It's happening for Velo. So there's a lot that's going on to weaken the baht, to lower rates, to bring in and foster digital and economic innovations. And we have Velo, who have pointed out that they want to be part of the government's free crypto giveaway, or will tap onto the coming 2024 Thai giveaway, and it's in full motion, and we're literally just waiting for the announcements to come in regards to these projects. Now, we already have, in regards to CBDC advancements, we have Lightnet and SCB and Fireblocks who have partnered and exited the sandbox. So the CBDC implementation technology is there and has exited, and right now I believe that this handout or stimulus package is representing a CBDC test trial. And again, this is where the technology will be tested, and hopefully we hear more about that in regards to Velo tapping onto the handout very, very soon. Speculative, but the dots are there. Now, the last thing that I wanted to look at today was where Cryptic Wombat pointed out that the SEC had approved USDT as a compliant cryptocurrency, legalizing trading and potential payment use starting March the 16th. As we already know, USDV, Velo stablecoin, is pegged to USDT, so this is great for compliance and regulation purposes in regards to Tether for USDV's backing. But could we see this as a potential collateralization amongst other methods for USDV? That's a strong potential that we could see in the near future now that there has been regulatory approval for Tether. So that was the last bit of information. Now, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. From Chart Nerd TA, take care. Peace out.